Hi everybody and welcome to February 2018. This is your February 2018 reading for the month. So without further ado, I'll get straight into it. I hope you've all come out of January okay and come out of the lunar eclipse that we recently had all good. So I'm just going to choose 3 cards for the month of February and to represent the beginning, the middle and the end of the month. And then we'll see what happens. Okay, so the first card we've got is the Queen. Now, this speaks very much in volumes about being in your own power. So the beginning of this month is very much about taking ownership and responsibility of your own actions. So I've often said we're not responsible for anyone else's happiness, anyone else's life, etc., etc. So bringing in that Queen energy at the beginning of this month is really about owning who you are and understanding that if something's going on in your life that you're unhappy with, you are the only person that can actually change that for you. So the beginning of this month, straight after the eclipse, which is quite interesting, is very much about getting to know who you are and where you're going, what you're doing, and those sorts of things. It's a lot of processing. So there may have been incidences in January that you didn't quite finish off. Coming into February, it's a good idea to close those books. So, and likewise, if there's things that you didn't attend to in February that you really should have, it's a really good idea. That you didn't attend to in January. It's a really good idea to attend to them now in this first couple of weeks of February. So that's the first card. I'll spin her around again for you again. Okay. The second card we've got. So this is for the second half of the month. Oopsie daisy. I'll put it over here because I always forget which side is which. And this is about risk. So I feel like towards the middle part of the month, 12th to about the 18th, thereabouts, maybe 20th, there's going to be a decision that you need to make, and it may on the surface appear to be quite a risky move, but in actuality, if it feels right, it will be the right one for you. So it's about assessing your risks and really taking stock of what is actually a risk as opposed to what is a perceived risk. Now by that I mean sometimes because of our upbringing or situations or things that have happened in our life before, we have a certain expectation and a certain perception that things will be a particular way. So when we have that, it can often trigger a fear factor within us. So when we're faced with the risk, it's kind of weighing up which is the stronger of the risks, meaning which risk is an actual risk and has large consequences, and which risk is more of a get out of your comfort zone risk, which probably doesn't really have a huge consequence on the world around you. So when we get into this middle part of the month, it's really about making some key decisions about what you want and where you'd like to go with your life, and not being afraid to take steps towards the opportunities that are presenting. I feel like there'll be a few opportunities for a few of you. I know there's about 3 coming for 2 of you. I'm not going to give names, but there are good opportunities presenting, and on the surface these will appear really risky, as in, wow, there's so much to lose if I go this way or if I go that way. But in essence, make sure that that risk that you're feeling, that fear that you're feeling, is a genuine fear. So really assess it from a very, I want to say, a very logical perspective. Normally I would go with your gut feeling, but for a few of you, the risks need to be checked properly. So you need to be able to ascertain which ones are legitimate risks, as in, yeah, there's a huge consequence if you do that, and which ones are manifested risks. Okay, so that's in, I feel like it's like 12th to the 18th, maybe the 20th of February, but for a few of you, there'll be some huge risks, huge decisions to be made, and some of those decisions actually do have much bigger consequences. So it's like dotting your I's, crossing your T's. If you're signing contracts for anything, whether it be houses, cars, loans, school, whatever, make sure you read it. Okay, read the T's and C's, and make sure you understand them, because for a few of you there are some really big risks coming in this month, and they're not like make or break you risks, but they are risks that can have a longer term impact if you haven't completely read what you need to be reading. And then as we get towards the end of the month, so 20th through the 28th of February, we've got the Lady of the Lake coming through. And she's about making sure you're in your truth. So for those of you that have these opportunities presenting, where there's a fear factor of you taking those opportunities, this is about making sure that the opportunities actually coincide with the truth of who you actually are, and that you're not bending to please somebody else. Because if you bend to suit someone else, you're going to end up on the wrong side of the tracks, if that makes sense. For the few of you that have the huge risks to take care of, it kind of feels very contractual based. So it could even be an employment contract. When we get towards the end of the month, again, make sure that any decisions you make in the middle of the month actually coincide with your truth about where you want to go, who you want to be, what your end destination is. Okay, and for everybody else, it's about making sure that you're honouring yourself. So if you get to the end of February and you go, man, I need a holiday, I need to go away for a weekend, or I need to go away for a week, it's important that you honour that aspect of you, because that's your body saying that you need to rest. So the end of February means looking after yourself. Okay, so you need to become the priority at the end of the month. Okay, so that's a very short and sweet overview of February. It's a very short month, and I hope you all come through it. Okay, I know you all come through it all fine, because you're fabulous people. And for me, coming out the other side of the lunar eclipse, I'm still very tired, as is probably evident, but that's kind of how I get affected by it. So for me, it's a lot about self-assessment and a reassessment, which I continually do, and I encourage other people to continually reassess. Not overthink. Overthink's not the right way to do it, but to reassess. It's like, okay, so some things have changed for me in the last month, last week, whatever it is. So I really need to take stock of where I'm at, what I'm doing, and make sure that what I'm doing is still in alignment with my truth of who I am. So that's my little story at the other side of the lunar eclipse. So please feel free to share your experiences with the lunar eclipse, and if you're aware of anything happening in February that you want a little extra advice of, something like that, please drop a little note in the comments below this video, and I'll try and draw a card for you so that you can get maybe a little bit more clarity over the next few days. So apart from that, I hope you have a fabulous February, and no doubt I will see you throughout the month and do some more live readings and what have you, and we'll have a few courses up and running too by the end of the month. So on that note, blessings to you all. I hope you have an amazing day tomorrow and a fabulous weekend, and I will see you next week. Bye.